Hey everyone, you made it to our show, Oak Road Diaries. It's a podcast where we get to take a journey into the lives of different experts, and we get to explore their roots and their own self-care practices.
In each episode, we dive deep into their personal philosophies, daily rituals, and transformative experiences from their lives, which offer all of us valuable insights and practical tips for our own well-being.
Join us as we uncover the wisdom behind intentional living, one story at a time.
This month, we're joined by Rick Diamond. He's an artist, an educator turned life coach, storyteller, and a guide in emotional and spiritual growth. Rick's journey begins in childhood, where art became both an outlet and an anchor in the midst of family dynamics, chaos, and the profound impact of divorce. In this conversation, Rick opens up about the emotional strategies he adopted to survive those early years, the scripts he inherited, and the narratives he carried, and the moment he realized he had permission to rewrite his life entirely.
Together, we explore themes of self-discovery, cultural and religious influence, identity, fear, and the courageous choice to live with authenticity in a world that rewards facades. Rick shares what it means to step into vulnerability with discernment, how storytelling shapes healing, and why creating inclusive spiritual communities matters now more than ever.
We dive into his transition from teaching to life coaching, the transformative power of retreats, and his exploration of healing modalities. Rick also reflects on the law of attraction, the rule of gratitude, and the subtle ways scarcity mentality weaves its way into our relationships, beliefs, and choices.
This episode is so rich with insights such as how childhood shapes emotional survival systems, how every strategy has both gifts and costs, and how presence becomes one of the most powerful tools we have for connection. If you're navigating identity, personal growth, emotional health, spirituality, or the journey of rewriting your own life script, this conversation will meet you exactly where you are.
So settle in, breathe deeply, and join us as we walk alongside Dr. Rick Diamond, exploring art, vulnerability, healing abundance, and the lifelong path of becoming aligned, intentional, and whole.
Hey, beautiful, gorgeous, eternal soul having a human experience filled with adventure and excitement and pain and joy. This is Rick the Story Healer. Congratulations. I promise, it depends where you look. That will tell you how you're doing. Watch for your brilliance. Watch for your beauty. It's everywhere. So here's to letting it all go.
Rick, we appreciate having you on this show, man. This is exciting things. As we did some research on you, it looks like you're doing some really cool things out in the world. And when we start our shows, we like to just get to know you.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you watched any of our other episodes or did anything on us, but it's a little different where we get personal with people. Where a lot of times individuals, they talk about what kind of work they're doing in the world as opposed to who they really are. So the first thing we want to do is just, tell us about yourself. Where did Rick begin?
Great. I will be happy to do that.
That's the whole point of this. Like literally the whole point of the podcast is understand people, understand their stories, and to give people a look kind of behind the curtain at these individuals that we get the opportunity to speak with, that will, add value and resources to individuals' lives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm down. I'm for it.
Yeah,
I'm
so
happy to talk about whatever, for real.
Where were you born and raised?
Born is one question, raised is a different one.
Oh, okay.
Born in Waco, Texas, where my mother and father were. She was a sophomore and he was a junior. That's at cool. Baylor University, and they dated. Yes, and they dated. And got pregnant, and then got married.
Okay.
And I am the miracle child.
Out came Rick.
Me. It was all for me. It's all about me. And I've had conversations with my higher self, like my deep, deep knowing, like my deep wisdom, and go, what were y'all even like, what was happening? And what I get often is, look, I was on a mission. That was the parents I wanted. That was how I wanted to be born.
Any other siblings from them?
Or other? And I made that whole thing happen.
Are they still together?
Okay. All right, then. Yeah, I have a oh, oh no, Dick and Mary Ann. No,
That was the first kind of response we've ever had.
no. Dick and
Oh,
Mary
wow.
Ann
Okay.
stayed together until I was 7. So summer after first grade,
Okay.
they told me and my younger sister they were getting divorced, which was, I mean, they were so unhappy. They were
Sure.
just miserable. They didn't want to even be together in the first place, but they were
Okay.
both. I mean, I look back at the pictures and I, pick up on context cues,
Sure.
they were working so hard to try and make it work and figure it out like people do. I'm in this
Mm-hmm.
situation. I don't want to be here, but I'm going to work my ass off and try and
Yeah.
figure out how to make it function. And,
And they went
Mary,
7 years, or I guess you were the oldest, correct?
yeah.
Yeah. So they made it at least 7 years to try to figure that out.
And then
Okay.
finally bailed. And he was drinking and throwing up in the floor in the living room. And she was
Oh, man.
yelling and screaming and throwing things. And, it was just terror. Everybody was
Oh.
experiencing terror. All of them. Both of them.
What year
too.
was this in? Like around
I was born in 1960.
1960. Okay, so 67. I mean, that's right in the crunch time of
It's
society,
a lot.
right? Yeah, there's a lot going on at that time.
Yeah.
Where everyone's got, I guess, kind of confused, or they're
There
like,
was
"Hey,
a lot of
Dick and Jane over there are doing whatever. Let me go follow them," kind of thing.
that was exactly what was happening. And
Yeah.
I've taught both of my parents in the years after,
Mm.
when I was a grown up, when I would talk to them about what their experience was and how they were trying to make sense of it.
Mm-hmm.
A big part of what they were feeling was, everything is shifting, everything is changing. Like, the late 60s and all through the 70s was this
They actually felt
tumultuous
that
time.
shift.
And they just jumped into it, both of them.
Wow.
They really felt it, which was really great and cool and scary and weird all at the same time.
Yeah, that's an interesting, I guess, way of thinking it, right? Like where people are. This is the work that you do, right? You open people up to a different perspective, as opposed to just what superficially was happening, the drugs, sex, alcohol, whatever, all that good fun stuff.
Right.
That is very interesting. I know we're going into your childhood, but I want to go into that kind of what you do, where you're taking that superficial societal thing, and you just said that they felt into it. What does that mean?
I think that for many women of that generation, the thing they were experiencing was a rewriting of the narrative and the paradigm for what a woman is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that became big for Mary Ann, my mother, who, especially when she was a single woman in the late 60s, she got remarried in 1970 when I was 9. In the late 60s, she was trying to decide, do I want to be Mary Tyler Moore and have a career and, go work and blah, blah, blah. And she was a secretary at IBM in Fort Worth. We had moved by then from Houston, where we were living, to Fort Worth. And she was trying to figure out, who do I even want to be? Like all these women in her generation, which was really beautiful and great. And it was also like chaos because, like, you start saying, well, everybody feel your feelings and process your stuff. And and it was a lot.
And at the time, right, society at the time, women, we're talking about the 50s and the 60s, that's when the independence started happening. So
right.
For it seems like with your mom, Mary Ann, however you want to call her, for her, that shift was, I see this is happening. I feel this shift in myself, or I feel this independence as a woman. And that's kind of the road that she took, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get you.
So what was really interesting about that is the guy that she ended up marrying, my stepfather, Glenn, was old school. He was like 11 years older than her. Looked like he came from, because he came from the 40s. His hair was slicked back. He was very conservative, very straight-laced. So she had these like 3 or 4 years of expansion. Who do I want to be? What do I want to do? I'm going to get a career. I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And then she marries this guy who worked for IBM as a typewriter repairman. Like he was, divorced with 3 kids and straight-laced and serious and whatever. And I think there was a part of her that sort of took a step back into what felt like security, because he was really like her parents' generation in some ways.
It's where, like, almost like she felt comfortable at home or whatever, right?
so she expanded and then was like, oh hell. And then, withdrew a little bit and we became like super evangelical, charismatic Christians. And, it was a very sort of tight little container. And at the same time, we also were into the Jesus people movement. So we're like listening to early Jesus rock and roll music. And so I'm like, there's this tension in the house all the time when I was a kid, a teenager, of expansion and then contraction. Let's experiment. No, kids. Let's just listen to 50s show tunes and be a happy little family.
So how was that for you? Like, were you guys as kids like super loose? Like, right? They say that kids have this, they're resilient, right? That resilience of being able to have all this shift.
Yeah.
Did you feel the shift, or were you kind of like loosey goosey? I'm gonna go with the flow.
Well, the story that I adopted, the role that I adopted, the book that I'm writing about story work and spirituality says that all of us along the way figure out, is there a role that I could play in this gigantic thing that's going on? And how can I play that role? Like what can I adopt for myself? And mine was to be good. Like, I'm just going to be good. I'm going to be a good boy. And it was a way to sort of stave off the chaos. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, cause my mom's second marriage was no happier than her first marriage, and they start screaming at each other, and it's terrible and whatever.
And this is back in the 70s now, right? Pushing forward.
Right.
You're now in the 70s where.
Correct.
That's a huge
This is 1970 to 75. There's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of unrest. There's a lot of tension. And I decided, if I'm good and if I kind of just mind my own business and if I'm pleasant and if I don't cause trouble, maybe I'll survive. Like that. None of that was conscious. Do you know what I mean? None of us is doing that consciously.
But throughout your work, is this your work that you've done in your life? Is this what you've went back to now in your childhood? And you're like, this is what I was feeling.
Absolutely.
Got it.
Absolutely.
So it wasn't like you were 12 years old. This is what.
No.
I'm going to be a good boy.
No. I don't think any of us are really conscious of the way that we're adapting strategies along the way. Right. We're in it. And
there might be, select children out there that might be super in tune with that. Right. I'd love to meet them. I'd love to see what that looks like. Right. What this little being just, the world is opened up. Just, the veil was lifted of the spiritual world. Right.
How would they do? Wow. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, you got these astrophysicists that graduate high school at, 10 years old. So my guess is maybe one of these kind of kids that have this just epiphany
or a yogi in India or maybe whatever.
Sure,
I don't know. I find too that in doing story work with people where we go back and look at the system that they came from that shaped them, if they can identify what their strategy was, like that's their role, right? So for me, the strategy was, if I keep my head down and I'm pleasant and I'm nice and I'm good, well, then I'll survive, which is true. I did survive. The flip side of that is every strategy that we take on has benefits that it gives us, but it also costs us something. All of them, always. Like every strategy, every role that we take on, every way that we say, this is how I'm going to survive this, or this is how I'm going to move through the world. There is a cost that comes with it, period. That's always the case. And so for me, the cost was I cut off my feelings.
Okay.
Like this was not it was a violent household. It was a loud household. It was a chaotic household. So it was not a place. There's no place for me to say, I'm not happy right now. There's no place for me to say I'm scared. There's no place to say I don't like what you guys are doing.
Yeah, who do you go to, right?
Yeah. So that all got stuffed and that all got cut off. And I had to reconnect to that much, much later in my 40s and 50s. I didn't get there until my 40s and 50s.
It seems to be the a common age, the midlife, right? The midlife for a lot of people, where some people, they go out and buy their cars. That's when a lot of divorces will occur. Yep. Or you go your route and you have this spiritual epiphany and awakening of, wow, this is what the shift is, what I should have done years ago. Each person,
you get there when you get there. Yeah.
Right. Each person's life and their timeline is their own, right?
I totally believe that our souls have a clear sense of what it is that they intend to experience. And then we are given opportunities to experience what our souls are here to do over and over and over and over and over. And, that's why sometimes people will come to me and say, why do I keep picking this jerk over and over in every relationship? And
you hear that all the time, right? Why do I keep going after the bad girl or the bad guy?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's the pattern you're working out.
Yeah.
And when you're done, it'll stop.
How many lifetimes is that?
I mean, however many, this one or the next one or the next one or the next one or the next one, whatever.
What matters is that it's your own, and that's all that matters.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
The keeping up with the Joneses, even on the spiritual side of things, I found that some people are like, oh, I'm more enlightened than that other person. I think people just need to get away from that superficial, like they're further enlightened than I am, or they have, a mansion rather than I have a little, hut. So much
not a
comparison.
Thing.
Yeah.
It's like there is no, I am more enlightened than the other person. That is not a thing. There is the sense in which there are seasons in our life, I feel like, when we're more asleep, like we're sleepwalking. But that doesn't mean that somebody is not in touch with and connected to and being guided by their inner divinity. Like that's always the truth about who we are. That's who we were created to be. That's our essence. It's always at work. It's just I may be a little zoned out for a decade or so. Who knows?
That's the whole default, right? I mean, right. That's kind of our thing. Like our we talk about it all the time is we're trying to figure this out for ourselves to go from this default way of life to be more intentional.
Right.
And what are the things we have to do on a daily basis? Because it's honestly a daily battle, right? To make sure that you're being intentional. So, I'm sorry, I got cut out there for about 5 minutes or so, but we're here. So
we missed you. We're glad you're back. And I love that. I've noticed so much of what you guys say about, and I've noticed this in what you're putting out there that I totally want to honor you for. The intentionality that you're calling people into, that you're inviting people into, the sense that I get about it is that it's simply about awareness, right? Yep. It's about being like, I'm engaged in my actual life.
Yeah.
And what I find is that our culture wants us not to be engaged in our actual life. Our culture wants us to be just zoned out. Yeah. Chasing, for sure. True. And there's this artificial thing that's not real, which I also, in the book that I'm writing about story work and spirituality, I call the script.
It's called the script?
I call that part of the thing that we're chasing. That's what in my book I call, in my work with people, I call the script. Like you're just following the script.
Yeah.
You're just defaulting to the script.
Yep.
The script of society, really.
Yeah.
Of culture, right? And interesting.
And it's constantly getting rewritten, and people are just constantly chasing it. And I want to be clear with everyone else out there that eventually will be listening to this. We're all in this, right? We're all trying to chase this thing. Like we're trying to get better for our own families, and we're trying to get more independent. Right. And, we're all in it. It's not like Jared and I are trying to say, hey guys, we made it. I can assure you, we have not.
You guys have not ascended? I'm out.
We have not. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm out.
Hey, you weren't supposed to tell him that till the end, dude.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. It's 2 hours went by.
Oh, well. Oh, well.
So,
we're all in it. That's okay. That's what we're here for.
It's literally the fun of the journey is to for the people that have the spiritual versus religious backgrounds, right? If we're talking just on the spiritual aspect, right? If those that believe in the reincarnation aspect, I mean, that's what we're here for, to constantly relearn and constantly grow. And hopefully we get awakened to be able to be like, okay, this is what my, for some people, they follow the birth charts. In this lifetime, personally for me, it looks like I have a lot of emotional intelligence that I got to work on. Right. And I have felt that shift just recently in the last 5-6 years. So you talk about that paradigm shift, where I can definitely attest to that myself, where that's where my timeline was. 5-6 years ago, I was like, okay, what I'm doing is not what I should be doing. And that's when this road of the happy atrium kind of was planted in, and getting myself just back into life. And we just want to show this to other people. Like it's easy stuff, but it's also hard. But when you're going through the hard, you can kind of fall back on this easy intentionality, right? Some of those things that we're trying to tell people, the intentional reminders. Hey, just be present.
Just pay attention.
Pay attention. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's simple.
It's more like when we're experiencing it in our life. Yeah. Like Sam and I will do those little shorts. It's just, hey, I'm going through this right now. Or like, hey, I'm at the gym or this or that. Right. And we're just trying to, just a quick little short to remind people as we're reminding ourselves. If we can, I don't think you guys got to this. I, again, apologize, but going back a little bit. So I missed where we were raised.
So we were in the 70s at this point. Rick was about in his teenage years. telling us about he had nowhere to go where it comes to the
So divorce
emotionality
happens.
of
You probably
things.
go with mom, I'm assuming.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm just making an assumption.
No, you're right. And my younger sister, who was 2.5 years younger, who Dad told us later, my father's name, by the way, was Dick Diamond. Yes.
Dick Diamond.
Respect.
Respect indeed.
And Dick told me and my sister later when he remarried and, did his whole thing, had another family, etc. How did he put it to my younger sister, Stacy, who is a brilliant, amazing human being. I absolutely adore her. I didn't really want you, but your mother thought it would keep us together.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
how do you respond to that?
Well, I mean, Marianne, when she would be really, really, thanks, Dick. Marianne, when she would be really, really mad at me, would sometimes scream, "I should have aborted you like everybody told me to."
Wow.
So there's that.
I know we're making fun of this stuff, but this is real stuff.
I have done so much beautiful healing. I've got a story. It's beautiful. And here's the thing, the meaning making that comes out of that, right? We go with mom and we'd go off to another place. I lived, my sister and I counted it up. By the time I graduated from high school, I had lived 22 different places.
Whoa, wow. Man, oh man. Wow.
Because we're just on the move and we're running and we're, being here a while, and then we blow that out and burn it to the ground, and then we go to another place, etc.
Yeah. What city were you around a certain city at this point?
Let's see. When my sister was born in LA because Dad was working for a big aircraft company, and then he got hired to work with a company that had a contract with NASA in the 60s when they were working on the moon mission and the whole thing. So we were living in Houston, and then they got divorced and we moved to Fort Worth, and then mom married a man named Glenn, the typewriter repairman, and he wanted to get away from his ex-wife and 3 kids, he said, and so he took a job in Harlingen, Texas, which is a tiny little town down in the Rio Grande Valley. So I went to middle school, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade in the Rio Grande Valley, and then we left him in the middle of the night and drove to Corpus Christi. So I went to high school in Corpus Christi.
Goodness. Yeah. Talk about an adventure, dude.
Oh, it's an adventure.
We left him in the middle of the night. Did he eventually find you guys?
Never. I never saw him again.
Whoa.
Never.
Well,
no,
the cat's out of the bag.
Did your mom
You're
still
now?
He has passed, and I in a plant medicine ceremony, I called his spirit in, and I was like, I have some things to talk to you about, and so we've gotten clear. It's good.
Man,
for real,
that's great, dude.
But
that's awesome.
She came in 2 weeks before 9th grade started for me, and she said, "Kids, put everything in the station wagon. We're leaving." And so we took off. And we were living down in the the tip of Texas. So the direction to go is north. So we just drove north and we got to Corpus Christi, and that's where I went to high school.
Okay. I'm going to go back to that. I mean, how you were in high school or like right in the middle school, what emotions were you feeling at the time? Were you like, all right, mom, I'll follow you? Or were you pissed? I mean, were you frustrated, stressed? I mean, what emotions were there?
Okay, Sam, this is a tricky question.
Yeah.
Right? Because on the one hand, there's and Jared, while you were gone, I talked about the idea that we adopt like strategies, roles to play for how to survive.
That's right.
All of us do.
It's the stories we tell ourselves, right? It's stories.
Right.
And it's all about rewriting the script. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maurice Sendak, the guy that did Where the Wild Things Are, the brilliant writer and illustrator, said that the thing that we don't understand is how much bravery it takes for children to survive. He says that is the biggest, most beautiful thing we can ever see is how strong and resilient children are to figure out how to survive their childhoods.
Sure.
On the one hand, I was feeling, okay, great. We're going to be out of this chaotic house where mom and Glenn are screaming at each other, and we're going to get a fresh start. It's going to be super, because my strategy, my role was to be good and happy and pleasant.
Right.
But I was nowhere near in touch with terror. But I mean, I remember, and my sister and I talk about this, remember being in the station wagon, driving in the middle of the night, in the dark, in the middle of nowhere, not having a clue. Where are we going? So all of that terror and all of that uncertainty was happening in here, like in my body. Up here, what I'm thinking is, this is super. This is going to be a fresh new
adventure.
We drive to a Holiday Inn on the bay, and because she was afraid somebody was going to steal our stuff, the three of us unload everything we took with us into the hotel room.
Wow.
And then the next day she goes and finds a job as a secretary at a oil company.
Incredible.
And so on the one, so there's two things happen. I think actually there's probably many things happening at the same time, but for sure, on the one hand, this is the meaning making that my script and my role is telling me, and we're all participating in it. Like everybody in the family system, or everybody in a company, or everybody in a church, or everybody in a group knows the script, and they're all performing according to the script, right? So on up here this is a fresh start, and kids, it's just the three of us against the world, right? That's all happening up here.
Yeah.
And then what's happening down here is we're not acknowledging. I'm sad. Yeah. I'm heartbroken. Like Glenn, my stepfather, was in my life from when I was 10 to 15. Yeah. He taught me to shoot a gun. He taught me to shoot a bow and arrow. He taught me he took me to Little League Baseball. He got me into Boy Scouts. He was a hugely important presence in my life. And now he just doesn't exist anymore. Like, we don't speak his name. He's just part of our past, kids. We're just moving on. We're moving forward. And that's exactly what happened.
As an adult,
so it's very
even hard
dysregulating.
Yeah. So as a kid, like, it's hard enough to deal with the emotions. And I look back, Jared, how many emotions do you remember as a kid?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
I think now, I did a better job hiding it than you. You always,
I mean, I'm
and not in a bad way.
Now
not in a bad way.
I'm out there, people.
No, well, to be clear, not in a bad way, right? I think Sam was very, you were just definitely more out there with it, right? and I don't know if it's hiding it. I think I just kind of understood things differently. My mom always said, this is the saying, you march to the beat of your own drum, right? Mm-hmm. And so for me, I was always like, it's like, I had this idea in my head of things I wanted to do, and then I would just go do it, right? Like, I didn't need your permission kind of thing. Like, I'm just going to go do it. I'm going to figure out how to make this happen. Right?
To be fair, that's how we grew up as well. Like, we were very like, hey, you're independent. And that was a good thing. Like, we tell our parents all the time, like, that's what parents should be doing, is teaching
they gave us the flexibility.
These individuals. Yeah. Like the autonomy, the flexibility. We got jobs at mad young of an age where we shouldn't have really been working that young, but it helped us be resilient. But I don't recall having
about the emotions,
feeling a lot of emotions, at least during that time, like what you're talking about, Rick, right? Like up here, you feel it, but
like with Dad being gone all the time, you mean?
Yeah, like that was. Yeah, I think up here it's just like this is normal, but deep down now, like Dad was not around a lot because he was providing. Like it had to have been. Versus maybe the kids that might have seen their their parents every day.
I know.
We can go to different scenarios. The kids out there that are unfortunately the hands are being put on, versus the kids that aren't.
Right.
It's like you said, that's a good perception to have, where you have the superficial stuff at the top, and then you have just this internal stuff where either people don't have the time for it, they don't want to even mess with those emotions, or they don't even know they're existing.
Or they don't know. Like, let's go back to Rick, right? He's in ninth grade. Yeah. He's sitting there thinking like, hey, this will be okay. Same with us with Dad. Like, my dad provided for us. He was a good man. He was a truck driver, so he was gone all week long. And we literally never even thought about it. It's like Pops is gone until the weekend. We see him
we'll
on
see you on
Saturday, hopefully, and Sunday a little bit, most of the day. If he wasn't doing some kind of church call or something, but we saw him enough, right? And it was just literally life. We literally didn't think anything else about it, because that's, what are you going to do? I mean, he's providing for you. Mom's at home with the 5 kids. Like, you don't think much about it. But then when you as an adult, when you are on your high horse now, and like you have the ability to start thinking back, it's like, and then you almost say like, who cares? Like, it was, but then to what you're, really what you're helping people with, Rick, is this idea of rewriting this script. Like, this happened. Now, okay, the reality is it happened. You're not changing that, but you can change the meaning the layer, that filter that you're putting on, and how it's going to affect your life now moving forward.
Yeah.
Right.
Partly because too, Jared, to your point, there is the for me, there is a part of our sovereignty as human beings where we choose along the way when we have enough awareness to say, this happened. This is the meaning that I made around it then. How do I want to understand it now?
Yeah,
It doesn't even mean that it was terrible or bad or horrible. Maybe it was.
Yeah.
But
or maybe it was really great. It's how do I
or
want to
maybe
deal
it was
with
really great.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
There is this field, like our emotional field, our spiritual field is feelings. Do you know what I mean? Like it's feelings, in which
Mhm.
case that's the part of us sometimes, especially in Western culture where we're so in our heads and we're so busy and we're so distracted and we're so asleep. That's the part that we're so cut off from. Well, when we're kids, we're not doing critical thinking about
No.
what, like you just said, it's just normal. This
Yeah.
is just life. This is just
Yeah.
everyday life. But as adults, when we move into a place, especially when we're in crisis or when something doesn't feel right or something feels off, like a lot of times when people start working with me, their whole deal is something doesn't feel right. It may be that something's on fire or maybe something's falling apart, but it
Yeah.
might simply be, I can't quite, I want to, and then that's when we get to go deeper into the story and say,
Yeah.
how was the meaning making done for you? What were you told about your experience? What were you told about what you're supposed to believe or know or think about this? And is that still true for you? Do you want to reinterpret that? Do you want to rethink that? Do you want to see that in a different way? And then to y'all's point, it just becomes intentional, right? This is how I'm choosing to see this.
Yep. Yes, I'm going to go back to that where you feel the pressure, right? The individual, maybe you're working with someone like they grew up in a very, we'll say, religious household or cultural strong point household. I feel like something's off, right? If I was somebody that, my culture was very much controlling of my life,
right?
How, I know we're fast forward maybe a little bit, but how do you work with someone? How do you dive deeper with that? Like if it's superficial, like, hey, my culture, and you could think of any culture, in your head, that's, very, I'm not gonna say forceful, but just the superficial. I'm trying to think of the word here. Pressed upon.
Do you want to go with high demand?
Yeah,
do you want to go
I like
with
that.
highly structured?
Well, religion's a good
structured.
one. Let's talk religion.
Let's do it.
Yeah, so
I'm ready.
okay, Sam and I grew up in a very religious household, right? In LDS, you're familiar with the Latter-day Saints? I don't know how familiar you are, or just kind of.
Yeah.
So we grew up very, very religious household, a religion that I still practice. And so I think that's kind of interesting, right? So maybe this is where Sam's question is coming from as well.
Well, yeah, because it's a personal
like
question, right? Because that's the shift that I had, right? I was trying to say it in a neutral way, but you know what, guys? I'm vulnerable, so let's
bring it.
Let's go with it.
I'm in. I'm ready.
Well, and it's different, right? Because Sam
wants you to open up
at a certain point, right? At 19 years old, there's kind of a.
I would say my shift was at like 14, honestly.
Yeah, okay. But I don't want to call it a rite of passage, but in our faith, we have missionaries, right?
Yes.
And we go out typically for 2 years, and it's typically now it's at the age of 18 for males and 19 for females. So anyway, we go out and it's for 2 years. 2 years where we go out and serve. We basically sacrifice everything else. We go out and do our thing. It's almost seen as, I don't want to call it a rite of passage, because certainly if you don't serve a mission, it's not like, oh, you're exiled. But I think in a young man's mind, it almost feels that way, right?
For sure.
I think perhaps it almost feels, hey, if I don't do this, then, especially back then, it's maybe a little different now, but, and maybe this is what happened, right? There started to be this maybe divide, and perhaps this is what happened with you, Sam, right? You said you're like 14, 15 years old. You're starting to come into yourself at that age. And that's about the time when I really started taking it seriously myself, right? I started looking at it.
Yep.
Yeah, I started looking into it myself more, and I was like, this is, like, I feel a certain way when I go to church or when I go to these events, or if I'm reading scriptures, or I feel a certain way that makes me feel really good and I like it. And I want to become a better person. And so I started pulling on that thread, right?
Right.
And maybe around the same time, Sam, this is kind of what you're talking to, where maybe it wasn't as interesting or whatever for you.
Yep.
And then obviously there's been a divide with that, where it was like, hey, by the time he graduated and, got married, he just decided, like, religion thing isn't so much for me right now. Right. So I don't know. That's just a little more background, Rick, to kind of give you a little more.
It's great.
No, it's actually absolutely perfect. Where I now knowing with this shift when I was about 30, looking back, obviously doing some of my self work, I felt that shift around 14 because at 14, that is a very pivotal time as a teenager in the LDS church.
Oh,
where
yeah.
you start preparing for a mission. Like they prepare you by teachings, by just talking about it more heavily.
That's right.
And that's where the shift, and it just felt off for me. I didn't know it at the time at all. Like I did not know it. I was just like, all right, this feels off, but I know this is what I need to do. And that followed through up until about 22 when I got married. And I still felt this just
You felt bad that
uneasy
you weren't serving the
divide.
mission, right?
Yeah, like bad. And not until I became 30, I was like, hell no, I'm not going to feel bad. I'm like, this is my spirit. This wasn't for me.
Got it.
Right. And feeling more open and feeling more in line with, what I've come to learn is the paradigm of that I'm at least feeling and seeing. And I felt very confident on this journey that I was on, especially even now, I feel confident that I'm good. My this lifetime, it wasn't for me. Maybe the next lifetime, maybe who knows, or maybe that's what I needed to be. I look forward to getting to that open veil as you have, Rick, where you have these connections with the spirits and other people like you out there. It's an incredible thing, and I think the script that that you call right with even on the religious side of things, I think too many people are just following the script even in religion.
Yes.
Where they're not really feeling into their spirit. They feel the spirit,
that's
but
true.
they're not feeling into their own personal spirit to be like, is this right for me? And now my own personal opinion out there is I feel like the people, the ones that are, actively religious every day, they're doing it for the superficial script. And those same people, they'll come out of church and then the first people to judge or the first people to hate on people. That's the kind of individual I'm talking about, this general individual.
Right.
Right, because they're not feeling into that true spirit, the true of what the essence is. So yeah, that's we'll leave it at that. At least.
This is an example of
thank you.
People,
This
right?
is so good. I'm totally in. Keep going, Jared.
I was just saying, this is just an example, right? Where Sam was, trying to get, his question was, of course, okay, well, here's a person that. I don't even know, Sam, like you're saying if there's somebody like this who's maybe struggling like where you were a few years ago and trying to figure out your self-identity.
The work that Rick does. If I, as an individual, I saw your website, I'm looking at it right now, I see your offerings and your classes and stuff that you offer, single sessions. And if I came to you, how does that work? Like if I told you something just feels off, do you just have a conversation like you and I are having now? And
yes, I do. Absolutely. But here's the best part of this. This is the secret sauce. Don't tell anybody.
Okay. Shh.
I mean, stop recording.
Of course, I'm going to tell everybody, of course. But I mean, I trust that the person who found their way to me, that happened in perfect timing. And I trust that their spirit, their soul, their wisdom, their inner knowing is going to run the session. I don't have to make anything happen. Like my awesome. Job is to listen and reflect and then to ask questions. And it might be something as simple as a session I had earlier this week with a woman who grew up, I think she like the daughter of a pastor. And, so again, she grew up in a very structured religious upbringing. And also it was, she also was speaking of Marianne, my mom, and her whole thing about, a child of the 40s and 50s and 60s, what's a woman supposed to be, and how do I think about that for myself? She went through the whole thing that our whole culture went through around rethinking gender, rethinking the role of a woman in the home, etc. Like this woman that I was doing the session with, she said, what doesn't feel right to me is and she's like a grown up, like she's a grown woman with kids and divorced, and she's gotten on with a different phase of her life, but something still feels sticky. And she said, I feel like there is a piece of me that I haven't connected to that I want to. And maybe it's in my work. Maybe it's where I need to move from. Maybe it's so on the one hand, it starts with the externals. Like we think it's about the job or we think it's about the marriage or we think it's about this thing that doesn't feel right in this dynamic in our life. And then all I have to do is just wait, because their wisdom is always going to tell me what the thing really is. Because the thing really is something in here, like deeper, that's wanting to get worked out It wants to be looked at. And that's why we're feeling that. That's why we're feeling that thing. I mean, it's the wisdom within us that's saying, this doesn't work for me, or I want to move past this, or whatever. And so much of what we experience in lots of religion, and I think in our culture in general, is, oh, that's silly, or, oh, don't be a bother, or don't think that, or, oh, don't irritate people, or you're going to get in trouble, or you're going to go to hell, or you're going to be bad, or you're going to not be loved, or you're, shame and guilt and the whole thing. That's so fear. My questions are, fear. Hello.
Fear. Yeah.
So my questions are always just permission giving. Do you know what I mean? To say, so if there's something about where you are in this situation that doesn't feel aligned for you, what doesn't feel aligned? Or is there something about what you're feeling and the role you're playing that doesn't feel good to you? And then, dude, all I do is just hang on for the ride at that point.
Because they're talking through and internalizing, right? You're there for them to help them understand what they're talking through.
Right. Yeah. I'm just reflecting. I'm just a mirror. I'm supporting them. I've worked with literally thousands of people over 35 years. And all of us are experiencing our own unique incarnation, our own unique path. And we're all experiencing the same stuff all the time.
Like, we are.
All of us.
we are.
All of us.
Too many people just don't talk about it. So everyone thinks that,
no.
Look at Mr. Jones over there. He's got that freaking nice house. Look at that new car he just got. What the hell? Right. And then just this constant rat race, not even just on the materialistic stuff, spiritualized. And that's what we talked about in the beginning, is just this people out there just stop being in the rat race.
Why is it? I just had a question. I think about people in my life, like, why is it so powerful to be vulnerable? Right? Like, think about that.
Is that rhetorical, Jared? You're thinking, or you're asking?
I mean, think about a facade, right? Like, you've got a facade that we all live in. We all put it up, and we all have a facade at certain areas in our lives. I'm sure even the great Dr. Rick Diamond does. There's little things here and there. But what I'm saying is, it's like, what? It's so powerful to be vulnerable, but yet we're so scared to be vulnerable. Right? It's almost that there's that scripture, right, in the Bible that says throw pearl before swine. It's that feeling that you get. Like, that's the whole idea. You throw your pearl before swine. It's like you're sharing something with someone they couldn't care less. Or you're sharing it with them, maybe they do care, but they're not showing, or they don't have time for you, right? And so I think that's partly why it's difficult to be vulnerable as well. You're like, well, who can I actually share this with that'll actually hear me and not judge me? Like, just be real, and you can be real with me.
Or talk about you. Like, why are
or not think you're less than because of it?
It's not even like the judgmental. I just had a conversation with a fellow employee yesterday. It's the, I don't want people constantly talking about me. Like, I can come up to you, Sam. I trust you. I got you. You're not going to go talk to A, B, and C.
Gossip,
right?
Like, gossip. Like, why? Like, that's the master of evil right there.
Yeah, and you hear somebody gossiping, you're like, well, frick, I know they're talking about me.
Yeah,
if they're talking about all these people to me, 100%. And then you try to control yourself around them and trying to be like, paint a picture like a perfect box so that they have less material on which to gossip about you.
Right. But think about the thing I was saying a few minutes ago about how children adopt strategies for survival. Like, one of the things that we're learning, middle school, hello, family of origin, hello. What we're learning the whole time is, I can't share this about myself. I'll get teased. I'll get laughed at. I'll get talked about. I'll get gossip.
Yeah.
It's happening the whole time that we're in these formative years where we're so impressionable, where things really land and they get charged in our bodies, and we feel sadness and we feel embarrassed and we feel ashamed.
And they keep us safe.
So our whole thing is, how can I keep myself safe? How can I keep myself covered? How can I keep myself and not get hurt more?
Yeah.
In which case, then, to Jared's point, the power when somebody can move past those boundaries and say, I want to tell you what's happening with me, and I'm going to be fine. We're attracted to that level of vulnerability because it almost gives us hope that there's the possibility that we could share what's really going on in here. But there's always the fear. You're going to screw me, aren't you? Like, you're going to,
like, this is going to come back to bite me.
For real. For real.
Yeah.
That's always going in our heads, and our bodies are afraid. Like the emotions in us are, oh my gosh, I just shared. You know, when Brene Brown talks about doing her TED Talk and then having a vulnerability hangover.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, my gosh.
That's
That's so true.
the other episode, 2 episodes ago.
Goodness,
That
that's
recorded.
real.
True.
Yeah.
It's real. Like I just, oh shoot, I shouldn't have shown.
Oh, and you feel
all
so
this.
bad, and you're thinking through it all, and then you just feel so exhausted.
Yeah.
One of the best things about I'm about to turn 65. One of the best things about being this age, and having done a lot of men's work and deep work and group work and plant medicine work and crying and screaming work and tribal drumming work, is it's really what you see is what you get at this point. Like I'm just like, this is it. I mean, come on in, everybody.
That's interesting. It's almost like, if I can go with that real quick, the idea is like, you're like, I don't want to spend any more time or energy on putting up this facade, right? Because that's what it is. It takes so much time and energy, and to do that, and you're just like, I'm not going to go around.
You're talking about the ceremonies, right? You're talking about doing like the big,
I'm
the big
talking
bells
about
and whistles.
I'm talking about Rick right now, living his life. He's not going to go around living his life with this facade and spending time and energy and trying to figure out, okay, how do I need to be with this person or that person? It's like, I'm going to be genuine and real and raw with everybody. Yep. Like, this is who I am. Like, you get what you see, right?
Yep. There is a limit, however, to how much of myself I will share depending on the circle I'm in or the context that I'm in.
How do you? It may not be appropriate, right? It may not be appropriate.
Appropriateness. Yeah, that's that.
Yeah,
but I mean,
that's what I figured.
I also don't want to call people into my life and into my real life that I don't feel that I can be myself with. It's just, I'm not interested in small talk. I'm not interested in that kind of, do you know what I mean?
I get that.
I don't have time.
See, that's powerful though. That's really powerful. That's a good filter.
Compartmentalizing, it seems like, all right? It's a common wording that you hear.
Yeah. These are the people that I want to draw in close because they will allow me to be close to them and I can be fully myself.
Yeah.
And then at the grocery store, I don't need to tell everybody about driving off in the middle of the night, whatever. Hi. These are the bananas.
Tell me about your childhood trauma.
Right. I mean,
lovely apples today.
It's like, why put that on? It's almost putting it on them. Like, why it just isn't. It's totally inappropriate.
I'm dealing with my own shit, Rick. I don't need to hear yours.
Hi. I want to tell you this. You don't want to hear right now?
Those bananas look really ripe. But by the way, this reminds me of the time when I was stuck up in that hotel and we couldn't even get bananas.
Right. Right. So the reality is all of this is going to be a discernment process. It's going to be trial and error. Sometimes it's going to work. There was a guy that was in my men's circle, meets in my house for a while. And he had been in it for 6 months. And then he just said, I just don't want to do this anymore. I was like, what? Are you good? And he was like, no, it's beautiful. I just can't take it anymore. Like I can't take being this vulnerable and real anymore.
It's
too
draining for him.
For real. He just was like, it's too much. I was like, cool, brother. So we have lunch every couple of months, whatever.
That's awesome.
That's
okay.
Cool. Are you're living in Texas still?
Yeah. I'm in Austin.
Yeah. Austin. I went there. Yeah. I've been there one time. That was in, what was it? 2017, 17, I think. And it was so I was in Dallas. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I was in Dallas and then we drove down because my wife and I were thinking about moving there. And so it was like during this time of our life and we're like, oh, maybe we want to move here. It's early, like I think it was early 2018 actually. And anyway, I go down to Austin and I'm like, and at the time we were actually vegan. Right. And so just plant-based diet. Austin is like the place. And I had never been to like a place like that before, but we were like in heaven. As vegans, we were just like, oh, I can't eat enough. Like this is, and the town was just such a cool town. And this was around the time, if you go back, 2018 is when like the real estate just started popping off.
Yeah.
It was a little bit before that, but like, my wife and I were looking at these houses. We're like, that thing costs how much? Like, we're talking
it's
$1 million for
California
nothing.
prices. Yeah.
It's gotten more and more and more. I mean, everybody wants to be here.
I'll tell you though, south of the river was,
bad, right?
I liked, and I don't know it well enough, but we drove around enough. South of the river was really nice. It seemed a little bit more green, just south of the city. Kind of north in those neighborhoods there was nice, a little congested. And then of course you got like, what is it, Red Rock, where Dell is, like a little more north.
Round Rock.
Round Rock, thank you.
Round Rock.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the South area seemed really nice, but
we have loved it here. We were here. I moved here in 2001 to work for a mega church.
Yeah. I read that you
I
worked for this church for
still-
17 years or something.
Before that, the mega
Churches.
church that I worked for 3 years, and I was having a spiritual awakening while I was working at a big church, and those don't go together.
Right.
I don't, right? Because
Right.
I'm asking all these questions, and
Yeah.
I'm, studying Native American spirituality, and I'm studying Hinduism and Buddhism.
You're like, wait a
and
second, this says here.
and then, right, I'm also, and the church was really cool and very progressive and grace and all that stuff. But I mean, for me personally, being in that kind of structure where I was told, when the 10 years total that I was in ministry, I was told over and over and over in staff meetings, we want asses in pews, money in the plates, and satisfied customers. Like that was literally what I was told
heck?
over and over and over and over and over. And I'm like, I got into this because I love God and I'm having spiritual expansion. And
I love people.
I'm so confused right now. So people are not, okay, so people are a commodity. Okay, let me adjust that. Okay,
Yeah.
so, okay, well, that's all right. So then I did that for 10 years total, 3 years at this mega church, and had wonderful experiences there, but it was really, really hard. And I ended up leaving and starting this non-faith, interfaith faith community called Journey Imperfect Faith Community that I led for 17 years here in Austin. And
Wow.
absolutely loved it. And it was also really, really hard because it was a place where we told everybody, tell the truth about your experience, be real to the extent that you can.
Yep.
Like, don't just walk in and, just tell us all your story in the middle of whatever. Let's do it in ways that are appropriate. But like, we wanted people to feel that it was okay, especially for them to have their questions. And I cannot tell you how many people, it probably would not surprise you, how many people their first question was, am I going to go to hell because I've asked this question, or I've changed my belief, or
Sure.
I'm not sure about this anymore. And it was so great. Do you know what I mean? It was so beautiful to be in the mix of people awakening and questioning and deciding what was meaningful for them and what they wanted to create. And,
Go
great.
on if you don't mind. Go in the 17 years. So you had this non-denominational church, right?
Was it Christian church still? Was it very much
I was going to ask that. What was the
Bible,
foundation and what was the teachings kind of like? I'm super curious. This is just a personal question for sure.
No, it's totally valid. Once we'd gotten going for a couple of years, we did a little survey. A third of the people in the faith community were Christian, straight. Like this was the expression that was meaningful for them, and they came from a Christian background. A third of the people were agnostic, or spiritual but not religious, or they were questioning their faith, and then a third were just straight up, there is no God. This is all bullshit, blah, blah, but I like this community.
They like it there. Okay, that's what I was wondering. Yeah, okay.
So we had every week we would start by, somebody would read a poem or play music, or it was really loose and beautiful and collaborative and open source. And then we would all recite, Jesus said the most important commandment is this: you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and soul and mind and strength. And he said the second commandment is to love your neighbor as yourself. So we would start off by saying, Jesus said what we're here to do is to love God and to love people. And then we would say, how do we want to explore an aspect of that together as a community? So every week we would bring in, I would talk for 15 minutes. I loved the fact that I never had a podium. I did not want to be up above people, like psychologically above people.
Yep.
Everybody was just wearing jeans, and it was very, very real. And sometimes people would get up and tell their story. Sometimes somebody would sing. Sometimes we'd all make an art project together. Sometimes we would do one series. We rewrote the Lord's Prayer together, all of us collectively, like open source. Each week we would take a phrase of it. We'd look at the original Aramaic and take the Aramaic apart and think about it. And then everybody would like add their own contribution to, like, what does that phrase, what does that mean to me? And so
that is very interesting.
Lovely.
Are there any other churches like this out there? Because I've never heard of a church structured like that.
I don't
Not
know.
that you know
Yes,
of.
I mean, maybe.
I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, I
there's
guess
a
there's got to be
bunch of-
possibilities out there, right?
Yeah,
So-
yeah. There's a lot of. I went at one point in 2001. I went to a conference called Solarize, Soularize,
Mhm.
and it was all weird churches like that, like people all over the country and Canada, like doing experimental things and what could community be like, and that's what I ended up doing my doctorate in the late 80s, late 90s, and graduated in 2001. Was if the church as it has existed is changing, which it clearly was starting in the 60s, right? The how and culture is clearly changing. It's on fire. Like everything is changing.
Oh, yeah.
The role of women is changing. What's a man is changing. What sexuality is changing. We need
structure of a household.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
What about gender? What about race? What about, inclusion? All that stuff that we're still in the mix of right now. That was all happening. The question became, what if we weren't attached to the church? What's the thing itself, and how can we explore different expressions of it? And so there's people doing beautiful, trippy, interesting, weird, experimental expressions all over the place, but they're not big and fancy, and they're not mega churches, and they're not, you know what I mean? Like,
so is that what you
doesn't
studied?
sell.
Your dissertation was studying the different expressions of this?
Yeah.
Wow.
Fascinating.
It
I mean,
was
you
so
said
fun.
that doesn't sell, but like, if people are awakened, I'm going to use this word very loosely, it should sell. Like, guys, this is what we're here. Our spirits are here to grow and to learn, not to follow one track. Right. I mean, at least in my personal opinion, there's a lot of other people that feel like that's why we have not race wars, but we have we have religious wars out there, because people, they feel like that is their one and true time and one thing that they have to go to, as opposed to this type of religious based church that's what it's at. Everyone gets together. I love that you had different just beliefs, people that were agnostic, people that like, why the hell am I even here?
Right.
But I need community. I feel like a sense of community, and I feel like there's something inside me that needs to feel uplifted. And clearly that was doing it. That's cool. And now when you left, did the place shut down, or is it still existing?
No, still going.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But I had done I had done 30 years of ministry, and I was like, I need a break.
Yeah. So what were you? So you got your going back a little bit. So like it sounds like obviously out of high school, you went and got like an undergrad, and then there was some time prior, you getting your doctorate.
I was a college English teacher for 10 years.
Yeah.
My first career
you didn't have your
was
doctorate at that time.
Did a master's degree in English, and I was really in love with that moment where somebody awakens, or somebody's like, oh, I never thought about that. Like, that's my favorite thing, my absolute favorite thing.
Thank you so much for joining us in this episode of Oak Road Diaries. We really appreciate you, and we really, really do hope that it added even the tiniest bit of value to your life.
If you felt that the conversation resonated with you, we invite you to share it, because you really never know who needs to hear this today.
You can find more tools for intentional living and the 7 pillars of transformation at thehappyatrium.com, or connect with us on our socials at thehappyatrium. We'd love to see and interact with you there.
Until next time, keep tending to your inner child, one breath, one step, and one story at a time.
Take care, and we'll see you down the road.